I've gone from running almost a 38-minute 5K to a 22.5-minute 5K in about 2.5 months. So how did I do it? Before I started running, I never thought of myself as a runner. I thought that I had some sort of heart problem because every time I tried running, I get this tight pain right here, and I thought running just isn't for me. And so I did not really do any cardio. I spent all of my time in the weight room, and that was as far as my exercise went. And yes, while it did get me in a great shape that I'm proud of looking at myself in the mirror, my cardio was something left to be desired. I found running incredibly difficult. So when I did finally commit myself to running, I quickly learned it was my form that was letting me down. I would run very tightly. And this is why I was getting the pain here. Because as soon as I said to myself, relax, and I started running and letting my arms almost flop around, the pain completely went away. So when I did start running and I started running on the treadmill, I could not keep running for the whole 5K. And this took me about 2 to 3 weeks before I could do that. And the reason why was pace. I did not know how fast that I should be running. And so it wasn't until I did a group run and I was told, run slowly, slow it down, when I finally was able to run a full 5K. And that was an amazing feeling because it was like breaking a threshold. I suddenly was able to run a 5K. And I was amazed by this because I thought, I've never been able to do this. I thought that this was an impossible thing for me. And so I decided I'm going to run a 5K every weekend. And that's all I've really done. I've only been doing one run a week, and that was enough for me to progress. And I think that's because I was just so bad at it. And a lot of those runs have been just me running with my brother-in-law-to-be, not married yet. So we would run together. And then we'd do sort of half a 5K and then I'd go off at my pace. So we was having a run together and then I'd run off and do my own thing. So I'm not running the whole 5K on my own and pushing myself. It's more of a challenging run, but I'm not trashing myself. And that's the way that we've been running. And it wasn't until a couple of weeks ago when I ran my first 10K because I thought, well, I've been running this 5K every week. Why not try for a 10K? So we went out and we ran our usual route, but then instead of walking back, we ran back. And this was completely different to the 5K because I found that my joints and everything would ache and it was very challenging. My heart, I felt like my cardio was keeping up okay, but it was more my joints and my legs were just getting so trashed by the end of the 10K. I don't think I could have kept going. Then I ran a 5K the next week. And it just kept going. But at this point, I just want to talk on how it's been affecting my weightlifting because this is a new way of training for me. I feel like my body's starting to adapt to it now, but my weightlifting really took a hit when I started running. I found that all my lifts suddenly became harder. I was not able to bench as much. I haven't even really been deadlifting with any regularity. I've completely stopped doing any back squat and I've just been doing machines, mostly upper body training actually, because I just feel like doing a back squat at the minute is going to trash my knees. And now I know I should be doing more back squat, definitely more deadlift, but I've been trying to acclimatize myself so I can do both. So I've been doing a lot of more upper body training while I've been running. But I did find that all my lifts did get weaker. As the weeks have gone by, I have found that my strength has come back. So I do feel like my body is finally adapting to it. So let's quickly talk about footwear. I've been running in barefoot shoes because those are my daily shoes. So I've been running in either my Vivo barefoot shoes or my Lono barefoot shoes, and these have been treating me well. But when I did start running, I was getting a lot of aches and pains and I could not run longer than a 5K because my Achilles would either hurt or my foot would ache and I just could not keep it up physically. My joints weren't strong enough yet. But I have found from doing it just once a week that my feet feel so much stronger. It's amazing how much of a difference running has actually made. I've been wearing barefoot shoes for 4 years walking around, but I was not running that whole time. And I thought that I was off to a head start because I thought I've been walking around in these barefoot shoes. Surely running in them is going to be easier for me because I've had quite a lot of experience just wearing them on a day-to-day basis. But I was wrong. When I started running in barefoot shoes, they were incredibly hard to run in, I won't lie. My feet were just not up to the task. But it has only been in the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 weeks where I've really felt like my feet are coming into their own finally. They're finally getting the strength that they were supposed to have to begin with. I have tried one 5k in my old running shoes, which I never did any running in, and I actually found them very strange to run in. The toe box was just a bit too tight, and I found myself getting blisters in weird places that I would never typically get blisters because I'm just not used to wearing any sort of cushioning in my shoe. And since then, I have not gone back to wearing those running shoes because I just like barefoot shoes. It's too much. I don't want to go back to running shoes. So let's talk about that 22.5-minute 5k that I mentioned at the start. Me and my friend Elliot were going to go and run at the track and try out the running club. So we decided to randomly go and try it out. And guess what? It turned out to be their once a year 5k race. And I found myself in a racing situation. Now, this was a situation I have not been in with running, and I was actually getting quite nervous. Suddenly, I'm surrounded by other runners, and we're racing. And I was actually pretty excited and scared. And I had no idea what sort of pace to keep myself at, and I just ran. So to hit this 5k mark, I had to do 12.5 laps of the track. And it just so happened to be the first time I have ever used Strava, so I've got it tracked. So I'm going to put the stats up on the screen now. And a shock to me, I ran the whole thing in 22.5 minutes. When I crossed that line and I looked at my phone, I thought it was a joke. I thought, I can't have completed this 5k. How the hell have I hit a 22.5-minute 5k? And I think the reason is because I had no idea of the pace I was running. So I was just running faster than I normally would. And with everyone else in the race being a lot faster than me, I naturally ran a bit faster to almost try and keep up with them. But during the race, I did have to back off the steam because I was getting really fatigued. My breathing was getting hard, and I just had to make sure I was running at a pace for me. And this leads me onto some techniques that I've learned throughout the short time that I've been running. And that is, if you are trying to push yourself, you really have to put all of your mental energy into breathing, or you're not going to make it. Every time I've been trying to push for a new time, I've had to really focus on breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And if my thoughts go away from that for even just a minute, I start to get out of breath. So during this 5k race, that is where all of my thoughts went to. I was just thinking, trying to breathe in and out. But some cheeky bugger decided to light a bonfire right next to the track during my last couple of laps. And this made it really hard to breathe on that part of the track. So I'd actually start covering my nose with my tank top just to try and not breathe in the fumes, and it was burning my eyes, and it felt like I wasn't breathing properly when I ran through there. But regardless of that, I hit a new 5k PB. And after that 5k PB at the race, I was addicted. This was my new thing. And the next day I wanted to go out for another run, but my Achilles was aching. Pushing myself that hard actually really hit my muscles a lot more than my typical 5k runs have. My feet were in disarray. My Achilles was very sore. My feet just hurt in general. But I went out for another run the next day and I ran just under 6k. And I wasn't trying to run for a fast time. I just wanted to run. It's a new bug. I just want to go out running. And especially now that I've got on Strava, I can track it all and I get these little stat reports at the end of my run. I find it very exciting. And yesterday I went out for a 9k run and I really enjoyed that too. And I think Strava is a great way to get you more into running, just because you can follow for your friends who go out running. You can follow people in your local town. You can see the times that they've been running. and it's just very exciting. And I really am excited for my future with running. So where is my future with running? Well, I'm going to sign up to my local half marathon. And this is a thing that I never thought that I would ever do in my life. I've never thought of myself as a runner. So I'm very excited to try and train for this. And I've got 6 months to do it. So my goal is to run 3 times a week in order to train up for this half marathon. And I just think it's going to be a nice new goal for me to try and go for. In the meantime, I might try and push my 5K time as part of my training, but that isn't my focus. My focus is to just do more running, because this is the first week I've run more than once. So if I can run at least 2 times a week, I'm happy. That is progress. So that has been my running journey, and I hope that maybe it's inspired some of you to try out running, because I truly think that it's been a very exciting and fun experience, especially when I've spent so much of my time just lifting weights. It's nice to be able to go outside and see the world and run. So if you'd like to see how my running journey began, then click this video that's popped up now, and you can see how bad of a runner I really was.